Jesse Williams is here, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest today. Not a normal day. Not a normal day around this radio station. So Jesse shows up for the interview. Yeah. Tell him what happened, Jesse.
Let's see. It's a regular Monday so far.
Yeah.
And then you come up and there's a good, 50 bodyguards. 50 FOI. Fruit of Islam for the uninitiated. Mm-hmm. Large gentlemen. Big body.
Large.
Packed into every space.
Well-dressed.
Well-dressed. Dapper.
Yeah.
Flowing suits. Crammed into every room, hallway.
Did you think that was for you?
I assumed it's a pretty secure area. I mean,
we feeling really important.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty protected. And then I dropped my phone on the ground and almost died.
They came for you?
Well, it sounded like I was, a little
like you were carrying something.
Gunshot or something.
Yeah.
Everybody snapped. Everybody's head turned around, looked at me. It was pretty good. It's a way to just kind of say welcome.
We had the Minister Farrakhan was at the radio station today.
That's right. I buried the lead on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's in the building, right through the glass, preaching. I think I caught him on hour 2.
Yeah.
Of his interview. That's a rare sight.
It's a rare sight and a rare moment. Had you met him before? No,
I hadn't.
I would think somebody like you, the circles that you travel in, because I imagine you have like lunch with people like this. This is what I would have thought, Jesse.
Yeah, you know what? Being out in L.A., which is where I am for most of the year because of my other job, you don't get to move very often and go see a lot of things. I went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year, and everybody's always like, "Oh, you must go every year for the reasons, same reason you're asking." And no, I don't really get to leave that much. If I do, it's in and out. It's a quick 18-hour trip or something. So,
wait, you say your other job?
Graze.
So, I know, but you consider Graze your other job?
It's one of the things I do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not your main. I would think you would think that that's your main job.
Oh, it's my time-wise, it's my main job. I love it. I'm grateful for it. I have a great time. But I do
other things.
Yeah.
A few things.
Yeah.
Jess, I'm so happy you're here finally.
Yeah, me too.
What the hell? I feel it's taken a long time.
It's taken a ridiculous amount of time. But again, same thing. It's geography. The distance between LA and here, it's just hard for me to get out. I don't know if this is like a condescending may sound, but I'm like so proud of you and everything that you've are accomplishing and this voice that you have created in the culture. It's important and impressive. Thank you. We're trying.
And needed.
Yeah, we're out here grinding, trying to kill as many birds with as few stones as possible.
Let's talk about your main job first. Let's start with the main job and work our way out.
Okay.
First of all, it's so weird to get a packet on you.
Yeah, right.
Because I know you.
Yeah,
so then I get a packet and I go, oh my goodness, he was a teacher all those years in Philly? Uh-huh. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you started as a teacher.
Yeah, while I was in college, I went to Temple University. Shout out to you. I taught. Yeah, I started as a sub. I cleared my schedule like 2 days a week to substitute in the community, and I tutored on the weekends and was an activist and founded an organization, was part of other organizations, including Friends of Family of Mumia. And then as school wrapped up, I stayed and taught full-time high school. Before I moved to Brooklyn, yeah.
High school students.
High school, yeah. The incredibly important years, but I also looked like I belonged in high school at
yeah,
the time.
Especially at that
20, time. 21, 22.
Yeah.
I definitely had students bigger than me with kids. So it was demanding, but it was absolutely the best job I've ever had.
Really?
No question, the best job I've ever had. The most,
Jadena, also a school teacher.
I heard that.
I
did hear that. Yeah.
You guys should hang out, have a dinner.
I know we haven't met, but I've heard very impressive things about that.
I could see the two of you having plenty to connect on.
Yeah.
All right, Jess. So what are we talking? Okay, so we're a teacher. So we're doing Grey's Anatomy season finale. I just watched it yesterday because I was on DVR.
We've got a documentary I executive produced called Stay Woke, the Black Lives Matter Movement, which premieres this Thursday on BET at 9 p.m.
Oh, it is this Thursday?
This Thursday on BET at 9 p.m. Documentary around the movement.
Yeah.
At large. Got Ebroji to talk about.
I know. I love Ebroji. I don't even talk to people in full sentences anymore.
The Ebroji app is lit.
Okay, so how does that work when you have a show like Grey's Anatomy? Because it's either like you either watch Grey's Anatomy or you don't. You know what is upsetting to me when I say to somebody, because a lot of people know who you are, but if somebody does it and I go, he was also in the Ciroc commercials. Oh, yes.
And it works.
And it
connects.
works.
Yeah.
It's the strangest.
Those were dope commercials.
They were kind of fly.
They were kind of compelling. They were a little unlike other things. And we had they had a nice assembly of faces in there that you might not know two of the guys, but you know somebody. You might know Aaron Paul, you might know Michael Kay, you might know me.
And then if you weren't, say, a Grays fan or something like that, or didn't know you from, they'll remember your face from that.
Yeah.
Because it was a nice little group of people.
That's funny. I had not thought about that as a reference.
It happens.
I kind of forgot about that.
I use it sometimes when talking to a particular person.
Yeah, sure. I might have to employ that when a grandma comes up to me and, who are you? Are you somebody?
I'm the guy from the Ciroc commercials.
Yeah, I try to sell you liquor.
That's so funny. And now knowing you better, I think that's a little bit of it. I would think that it would be a strange fit.
It was a little, it's a little weird. I'm not a showy, flashy, hop off the jet in sunglasses and strut around. I'm not a peacock kind of dude.
Right.
Yeah.
But it made sense, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was just, do you want to go do a Ciroc commercial with Puff? And Michael Kay was a homie, and it just made sense.
Yeah, it was good. You didn't do Bad Boy concert last night, did you?
No.
They had a Bad Boy reunion show at the bar.
Yeah. No, I heard, and it sounds like they've been pretty dope.
You go outside? Are you out? Are you social? No.
I sometimes. I'm working right now. I'm shooting a movie in Atlanta, producing another documentary about school to prison pipeline with Norman Lear. I'm in Florida. I'm in LA.
You have no time.
I'm grinding. I'm up here doing press for a nonprofit. Press and some work for a nonprofit. So it's work. It's
you're
work
not in
time.
these streets, and you're a dad, and you're
all that stuff. Like I get out once in a while.
All right, so what's happening? So tell me about the movie. So it comes out Thursday on BET.
Yeah, Thursday on BET. We did a documentary. We wanted to take a look at the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement for Black Lives, which is the larger movement, and just kind of catalog it. Everybody has opinions about it. Everybody has a version of an interpretation of what they think it is, and I just wanted to. It's directed by Lorenz Grant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an executive producer. And we wanted to make a project that humanizes the experience and the movement and show that people, that it's not this kind of just disembodied trend. There are human beings that are making incredible sacrifices in their life, particularly Black women, and that are organizing and mobilizing people on the streets to go speak and go take over the halls of power and have a direct impact on policy that can have a real effect on our lives and the lives of our children. So it's not just, take it out of Twitter and the realm of hashtags and put it on the street.
Yeah, because I was going to say there's so many different perceptions about them. And some of the, I've heard everything from that they're polarizing to that it's just a hashtag.
Well, that's what happens every single time any Black, brown, or disenfranchised group stands up for themselves. It becomes polarizing.
Right.
Because if you spend generations with a boot on your neck and you ask for some room to breathe and try to move that boot off, you're being polarizing. You're inconveniencing the system, the status quo. It's not you're told you're insane to want to demand the dignity that you damn well deserve. So that I say that to say it's not surprising that we're going to get it. We're going to get misrepresented and be told that it's controversial. Somehow it's controversial for folks, in particular Black folks, to want to be protected and enjoy equal justice under the law that they fought on the front lines of every single war this country's ever had to earn and have yet to receive.
Have you been involved with them since the inception, or are you?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, from a degree. I'm by no means a leader or a founder or the head. Nothing.
Just a supporter.
Yeah, I'm a supporter. I'm an activist at heart and have been. I understand the culture. I understand historical context for movements towards liberation of people, and I try to be supportive wherever I can. I just happen to have a platform, and I choose to use it to lift other.
I think it's such an important time to do a piece like that, to really
because
show what it is. Like, what is it? What are we doing? Even if you're like you want to be involved, but you don't want to dive all the way in.
Right.
Like, what are the levels of involvement that you can have?
Well, because narratives matter, right? Media matters. Media is marketing. Race, by and large, is a marketing campaign.
What?
Race is marketing. It's selling you on why it is okay for white power to exist, why it's really what you deserve, why Black and brown folks have really never been anything, and why it's okay to have the systems in place that we do that keep folks down, why it's okay to have housing discrimination where folks cannot move out of the ghetto. It is illegal. It was for a generation of time when the suburbs were invented. There was a period of time where Black folks you can't buy a home, you can't get a loan. There's systems that are in place that put us where we are today, and we don't learn history in school. You learn white supremacy for 12 years. You learn to believe that you never were anything, and everybody that has accomplished anything looks a certain way, and that civilization started in Europe.
Jesse, do you scare people sometimes with this type of talk? Especially, I would imagine
it scares me to listen to the nonsense.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm not saying what you're saying is not just not truth. It's not truth. I'm just saying, especially in the world that you play in, you're in LA, you're in a very popular show of all types of people. You know what I mean? I just wonder if that type of talk scares people sometimes.
I'm sure it does.
You don't care.
That's not. I mean, that's their problem. That's not my problem.
Right.
I'm gonna be myself. There's as a general rule, like, I don't let you disrespecting me convince me to disrespect myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's we have to stop living a reactionary lifestyle. How is somebody going to receive, the situation where you feel this kind of, where you want to call a microaggression or a little racist comment or a sexist comment, because all men are guilty of kind of absorbing this patriarchal structure where we don't know how to actually treat women with the respect they deserve. And when you're inconvenienced, and then you have that ride home, or you're on the train home, and you think about what you should have said and how it made you feel, and how you could have stood up for yourself, or how you could have handled it differently. Like, we're constantly inconvenienced, but then to speak out is what's treated like an act of aggression. Yeah. Angie, that seemed a little harsh, the way you told me about myself when I stomped all over you. Yeah. Like, no, I was inconvenienced first, and we have to learn to get comfortable. And I think what we're seeing in this younger generation is folks getting comfortable in their own skin. I mean, like, you know what? I can raise my hand and say I deserve better.
You don't see a little shift happening? You don't see?
I absolutely see a shift happening, and I think that it's very easy to criticize millennials and the younger generation that grows up on social media, and there's a lot of fame whoring and that stuff happening, certainly. But this is also,
talk about that all the time. It's ruining. It's ruining us.
There's a lot of things that are ruining us. Culture, like the beauty of actual presence, like being present in the moment and communicating and connecting with folks. But this is also a generation that got out and stood out in the streets in Ferguson and demanded the respect that they deserve. We've our whole lives we've watched ourselves get stomped over. Remember Eleanor Bumpers here in New York, like people getting beat up by cops, and those cops getting off. And finally people stood up, and it was this generation that had a huge part in that, and they deserve credit for that.
You heard the other cop got acquitted today.
In Baltimore. Acquitted. And there's all the concerns of the city are about property. Don't hurt property. We can destroy black people and bodies, but don't hurt our property, or else you are the criminal we've always groomed you to become.
Wait, Baltimore. I'm talking about, what was it? Is it
Freddie Gray?
Yeah. Baltimore. Crazy, right? Disturbing.
Normal.
She said normal.
It's normal, and that's it's easy to feel beaten down by that, right? And kind of dejected, and it's hard to get motivated again.
You were in Ferguson, right?
I was. Yeah, I've been a few times.
What was that experience like? I can't even imagine.
It's one of those things. If you go on to a plantation and you're seeing an uprising, it's really beautiful, but it's also really horrifying because you're on a plantation. Yeah. But the uprising is magic, right? Like that's kind of Ferguson. It was really beautiful to see folks together. It's really this love movement, right? Like, folks are really loving each other and wanting what's best for each other and building and connecting and
but it's on a plantation.
But right. And it very much felt like a I don't use that hyperbolically. It was very much felt like a plantation state, in that we're out in the streets all day and night, and there's cops patrolling, rolling around, harassing us, like instigating beef, instigating physical confrontations with people, flashing lights in their face, harassing them. I can't curse to really articulate what,
you can. Go
what
ahead.
They were saying.
We have buttons for that.
Talking shit, constantly. What? Like trying to, like, really popping shit off.
Wow.
Well, we're just walking. Like, I'm walking with women, kids, all ages. Like, it was very aggressive, very antagonizing. That was my experience in Ferguson for periods of 3 days at a time, 2 days. That doesn't necessarily represent everything, but I saw it with my own eyes consistently. And that's a narrative that folks.
I remember watching the I think it was Complex did an interview with J. Cole while he was out there on the ground, and he said something similar about how beautiful it was at the same time to see. It's that like type of
anywhere where you're in, particularly because there's so many narratives about deunification in the community and how antagonistic we are towards each other, and there is kind of competition, profile, and posting up, and it's kind of whether it's guys over girls or guys over guys, whatever it is, petty kind of tribalist stuff, territorial stuff. We have a lot of things that divide us. But being there, it's like it almost is a little bit like being at the inauguration, being at Obama's inauguration the first time.
Like?
It's just magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's truly beautiful. You can feel it. It's palpable. Everybody is just, there's so much love radiating off of folks, and pride, and a break. It's like a moment of relief from, and I'm talking about the inauguration now.
Right.
Ferguson was not a moment of relief, but the energies are similar.
Yeah.
Where you're just getting a lot of positive energy from folks that really want to be together. We really want to be together, and spread love. So in Ferguson, I found that, but it was active. It was changing. It was look at how people handled being tear gassed, and we talk about some of that in the documentary.
Oh, I can't wait to see
it. Is when folks are getting tear gassed in Ferguson, you have folks getting tweeted from people sending tweets from Arab Spring and Palestine telling them, I should say, how to handle being tear gassed.
Oh, like
use
advice,
milk or
tips?
Coca-Cola instead of water in your eyes. That's going to make it worse. Like using
when social media is actually
as a
helpful.
tool,
Yeah, wow.
as a tool for communication to give you, again, because
is that true? Milk and
milk and Coca-Cola apparently. But in Ferguson, they're coming out with tanks. These are cops pointing automatic weapons at children and women at noon on a Thursday on television.
Oh, wow.
And nobody's got a problem with that.
And we see. So okay, take me back to the show. So Thursday, what
Thursday at 9, we're gonna see this documentary, Stay Woke, on BET.
I love the name.
It's a great name, right?
It's a pretty great name. Is that yours?
No, I mean, I chose to name it that.
Yeah.
Me and the team, Lorenz, who's the boss, Lorenz Grant, the director. But the phrase, I had nothing to do. The phrase actually, I think,
originated. You didn't invent Stay Woke?
Stay Woke, actually, I was looking it up. I think the first time it was really uttered.
Of course you were looking it up.
It was Erykah Badu.
Was it?
And on her New America album, I think she had a line about it. And then it didn't really resurface again for a couple of years. And then folks on Twitter were kind of using it. We also just kind of use woke, for...
I use it all the time. I like it.
So
Erykah Badu.
I think she was the first person
to coin it,
to say it, and she wasn't saying it with this intention, I don't think, but to put those two words together, you got to stay woke. I think it was about for two women about their man or something.
I love that you care enough though to actually research that.
Look at the origin of what you say.
You got to be a special type of human being to care enough to say, well, who invented
say
this?
A lot of crazy things that we don't realize are actually inherently racist, like you gypped me. Right? It's actually a racist term for against gypsies. Gypsies are thieves.
How dare we? What else? Tell me
things.
Another one. Tell me another one.
I don't know. There's
a human encyclopedia here we have today.
I don't know. There's one wake. Well, this isn't offensive, but wakes. Why we call it a wake at a funeral?
Yeah.
Is because folks used to, and I think the 1700s, folks would get so drunk that they would just be passed out for huge periods of time, and you don't know if they're dead or not. This is kind of pre-modern medicine, right? So you would take them and you'd put them on the table in the kitchen and leave them until see if they wake. It's a wake to make sure. The wake is to make sure they're dead. To give you a little bit of time before you bury them underground to confirm that they're dead.
That's awful. That's really a pleasant story. Thank you
welcome.
for coming by
That's
today.
What I'm here for,
this.
Debbie Donald Downer.
Thank you for sharing that moment with us. All right, I can't wait to see. Yeah. So Thursday, we'll
it's dope. It's Thursday at BET at 9:00, and it'll re-air. But it really explores, what we're trying. What we made sure not to do. It's not a conclusive story, right? The movement lives. The movement is in its adolescence. By and large, we just started, right? It's ever changing, but we wanted to get on record some things of where it's at.
It's a good time for that.
It's a great time. We talk about its origin. We talk about what actually was happening on the ground at the moment that kicked it off. We make sure to have the originators of the network and the hashtag Black Lives Matter on there certainly, and then talk about where the movement's going, how people have found their ways into kind of the public space, how to impact policy. Also, how do we handle the onslaught of the Fox News, the far right, the people who lie for a living, trying to reframe it, and how we push back against that and kind of find ourselves in that process. So it's kind of a little bit of a mini bio of where we are.
Amazing. And we can all see it on Thursday.
On Thursday.
At 9:00 on BET.
That's right.
And then, so I know you're doing all these events too. I'm so mad I didn't go to the Flint event. That looked amazing.
Yeah, that organization that I'm a founding member of, it's Ryan Coogler, dope, famed director, who's come out with Black Panther, director of Fruitvale and Creed, family to me, him and Ava DuVernay, and it's a great group. It's a network, really, called Blackout for Human Rights.
The first event was in Harlem?
In Harlem, we did a Riverside Church.
Yeah, that you guys remember that. That was the one that streamed live. Everybody was watching.
Yep, it was on Martin Luther King Day.
We found out J. Cole was married that event.
Kugler,
just for point of reference. Just for a point of reference.
Sure. That's where that story broke. Both of them loved that moment. But we did a beautiful. That was so awkward.
It was so great though, because it was so.
Jermaine handled it really well. Kugler is the sweetest person, the most real person.
You could tell there was no ill intent at all.
No, at all.
But it was amazing to watch that and the discomfort.
We're trying to learn how to communicate with each other, ladies. We're trying, and sometimes we're going to stumble.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So that
there were many amazing moments. By the way,
that network is really talk about magic. Like really dope. Folks trying to get together, and it came up out of figuring out how to basically divest from corporations and basically disrupt a system that is funding and supporting the oppression of the state. So we decided, like, Black Friday, the biggest shopping day of the year.
That was the one in Harlem. Was on Black Friday, or
but
the
organization was stemmed out of Black Friday. Before Thanksgiving, we decided, what can we do to stage kind of rallies and walkouts and not shop at Walmart and other big box stores that either fund negative policies or legislation and or could do a better job of representing the folks that they employ.
Right.
Well, it's a place like Walmart that people that work there can't even afford to eat. So we started doing blackout events. Like, don't shop. Instead of shopping, come to the theater in Oakland and we'll play movies for free. And we'll have panel discussions around social justice. Instead of shopping, come do this. And giving you alternatives instead of just telling you what not to do, we'll give you an alternative, something to do. So then we went to Martin Luther King Day. We wanted to take back Martin Luther King's legacy from this trinketizing of him. Everybody loves Martin Luther King now, but you wanted to kill him, and you did kill him when he was here. The same things that they tell me when I get my death threats on Twitter and all that.
Do you really?
Like, of course. These people are the
Why?
same. It's the same people. It's just a different.
What is their
decade.
Reasoning?
They're
just
really
blatant?
they're really insecure white supremacists.
No, but
they're
blatant racist, or is it masked? Is it?
No, they always hide behind like an avatar. Notice these people never show their face. It's like a shield with like a badly drawn eagle and like a American flag missing a star
and 2 followers
or 3,000 and
wow.
Nigga this and I'm gonna kill you and this and that.
Really?
It ain't. I mean, it's nothing. These are just.
Is that regular basis though?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It concerns me like 1/18th of a second once ever. Like
really?
I don't give that. Nah, they can't.
That had to surprise you out of the gate the first time you saw it. Really?
No. How could this? No,
I don't know. It's as much as I know things happen in the world. When you see it and you're confronted with
I've been confronted with that my whole life. I think that's part of that. Ange might be where I'm from and how I was raised. Like, I'm black and I'm white.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in the hood in Chicago, and I moved to the white suburbs. And half my family's white, and half my family's black. And I'm kind of the invisible man in many ways. Like, I hear how people actually really talk about the other side. And I understand how white power works because that's how I was taught at home, studied that, and have a historical perspective on how exactly white supremacy is used as a tool to make certain groups small, why we make Africa look smaller on the map than it actually is. All maps that you've raised to see, Africa is smaller than it actually is. Yes, the brainwash is deep, right? Like, you think that we call those columns Roman columns.
Jesse's the type of person you're in the room for 30 minutes with, and you leave and you're furious.
Yeah,
you just want to.
So yeah, like you have that foundation. Like, I can't be surprised with some red-faced loser from Tennessee who thinks because the thing about whiteness, and I can say this because I am white, is that it's entirely dependent on having its boot on the neck of blackness. Like, it's an invented state, right? Whiteness didn't exist until it was time to own other people as property. It didn't exist. It wasn't a term. It wasn't a defining cultural term. You were Irish, or you were Italian, or you were French. And then when they needed to convince poor white people to vote to unify against, to justify the oppression of other people, and to keep being a worker, a labor class.
How does the white side of your family feel about your stance on things?
They love it.
Yeah.
They understand. If you understand the truth, there's nothing to be threatened about.
Right.
Like, there's nothing to be, and I don't mean some like holy truth. There are multiple, there's many ways to interpret things, and I am certainly not always right, and I'm learning. But white white folks have been on the side of and worked towards liberation of other people in every movement there's ever been.
Right.
White, actual like independent thinking and being part of civil rights or other movements is part of white people's history as well as oppression is. Like,
right.
you don't. It's what you choose to associate with. So my mother's raggo about civil rights. Like, she's really serious.
She would have
about
to
it.
be to have you.
Well, she wouldn't have to. Well, hey,
yeah, kind of.
Have me. I'm a product of her and my dad. Like,
right.
It's like we grew up. Like, it's okay to know the truth. You don't have to be insecure about it. I have a huge white family and a whole bunch of white friends, and they're normal. It's like you don't right. you can be fully aware that Trump is a racist,
right,
without having it to be a threat to you. There's something really unique I find about when we talk about like police brutality and stuff, particularly online, where everybody's a tough guy on like the YouTube message boards. That is a problem for sure with like the social media generation. But when like if you go on YouTube and watch like white people talking shit to cops, like
is there a thing? Is there a category?
Huge thing.
Stop it.
White people getting pulled.
Has anybody else in the room watched this?
But everybody knows like when you see like when you ever seen in real life the way like your white friends talk to cops, like you're like, whoa, you see how white people talk to police officers?
But wait, this is a category or thing?
If you on YouTube, there's like sovereign nation people and like just hardcore white people that will like they know their rights. They know their rights. So when a cop pulls them over and they defend themselves and they say, I'm not giving you my ID. I don't need to give you my ID. That's not necessary. I'm traveling. I'm a free person traveling. And they just break it down to cops. They yell at them. They curse at them. They threaten them. They won't roll their window down. They videotape them.
And they drive off fine.
Oh, and not only do they drive off fine, I bring that up because the comments are all like, absolutely, F those pigs trying to stop you. This ain't a police state. You deserve to defend your right. Now, the only thing all that needs to change that equation is your skin not being white. Sandra Bland had the nerve to smoke a cigarette in her own car, and this segment of whiteness ripping her apart, how she deserves to die because she didn't treat him with respect. If she had been white, she would have been a hero. You can watch on YouTube white people beating cops up, fighting with cops, punching them in the face, hitting them, cursing them out, running from them, and the cops never consider, and I shouldn't say never, most of the time, vast majority of the time, never consider snatching their life, reaching in their holster, pulling a gun out, and taking their life. That's not part of it. You don't need to do that. It's unnecessary. Mm-hmm. It's unnecessary. In England, cops don't even have guns. Guy can be running around with a hatchet, and they figure out a way to contain him and take him down because he's a human being.
Right.
So part of that, and that's not, and I would never. That's not. Cops are human beings that were brought up in our school system. They were trained to believe that black people ain't shit to begin with in the first place. So it's part of conditioning. It's not just police. It's what other people do as well.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Everything's fucked up. It's all fucked up now.
But once you know that, there's a little bit of a freeing. There's a freeing thing about that because
I don't know. I feel wound up and.
Yeah, I feel wound up too. But I also.
Do you think Minister Farrakhan had something to do with that, setting the tone today?
No, I've heard that before. But I do think there, it's the gift and the curse of knowledge. That's why they say ignorance is bliss. Right? Yeah. You just be out here chilling. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really care about politics. But you complain if something happens that doesn't go your way. Right. But I do think that there is it is a liberating thing and an incredibly necessary thing to at least to understand where you come from and that there's something to be proud of and there's a reason to stand up straight and look folks in the eye because you deserve to be there. And we find so much, particularly as a teacher dealing with young people, young black and brown kids, because by and large a lot of these issues are very similar for black and Latino or Chicano kids in terms of state violence and stuff. Is that like us regaining an ability to be confident in ourselves and your 10-year-old son should know how to look people in the eye and speak. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I remember my dad would always like make sure that if we needed to find out what time practice was or where I needed to be for something, he would never tell that to me or find out for me. I would have to pick up the phone and go call that adult and find out and ask it and like organize it for myself, which terrified me.
Yeah.
But like you need to practice belonging. And like you deserve to be there and have that confidence. Because when you show up in school, like we show up at college, if you're lucky enough to get to college, you show up at college mad late behind white folks and behind people that are like grew up in supported societies.
Yeah. Like
you have 18-year-olds that are freshmen in college that are just now having the first experiences that these white kids had when they were 10. When they were 10. Like it's not nothing to them. It's a really competitive society and we're falling behind like at drastic rates.
What are you going to do to fix it, Jesse?
Well, this is always the problem with identifying a problem. Is you gotta fix it.
What are you going to do about it, Jesse?
If you point out something messed up, that you're also burdened with having to try to solve it, which is predictable, but at the core unfair. But we're working on it. We're working on it, and part of it is just a general state of wokeness, which is to be aware. Right, which is just a slang version of be aware and be open to the possibility that an experience outside of your own can be true and have validity.
Or it can be changed.
Yeah, and if it's true, then it can be changed. Because if I don't agree that there's a problem, I'll never contribute to solving it. Mm-hmm. Right, like this, but that's kind of what like white privilege impacts is like this. White privilege is the ability to if you don't experience it, you can pretend it didn't exist. And this notion that the pain of your neighbor is dependent on your belief in it. You know what I mean? Like your pain doesn't exist unless I believe it. Like your version of the cop wouldn't really have hit you across the face with his baton and done that unless you had really done something.
Right.
Because that's my experience. Because I make myself central to the narrative, and that is something we need to resist. And I'm really proud of the movement for using the tools at their disposal to voice their truths and become a community and be that village for each other. So you're not a prisoner of wherever your neighborhood in Kansas City, and you don't have any transgendered folk around you to help support you and know how you can be. Now you have a community that'll be there and be there for you. So trying to be creative with that.
I love that. Okay, so somebody who's home sleep,
not woke.
What is the starter kit? Like somebody who is like all the way not woke and doesn't want to really be woke because it could be tiring. Yeah. What is a starter kit of something that everybody could do? Well,
as a general rule, if there's something that you want to know or don't know, if I say a word, this is something I was always taught to do as a kid. If I hear a word, I'm going super basic here.
Please.
If I was ever heard a word, my parents always made sure, like, listen. You hear a word, you don't know what it is, write it down, and then when you get home that night, look it up. Super, super basic.
Super helpful, though.
If people are saying words, you don't know what they mean, go on the side, later, find out what those words mean. Build your vocabulary. Build your ability to comprehend information that's coming on around you so you are not lost.
Because that's behind. A big part of the problem.
Is being literate on the issues, right?
Yeah, we're not also a disconnect in terms of the people who understand the issues and how they deliver the information, and the people who are disconnected from it.
Right, and I can feel condescending and I feel intimidated.
Yes.
And talking about policy, I don't understand how that works. Yeah. I'm kind of embarrassed to ask, because then that makes me smaller. Yeah. Right, and that's totally real. Which is why
I think it's important for when our artists take a stand. I think people who maybe may not resonate to somebody who's speaking over their head looks at somebody like a Kendrick or a Cole or somebody like that.
In plain language or in your language. But also, because I'm not going to burden myself with like, we use libraries anymore, but in our day, it would be like going
back
to the
library.
Back in our day. Right? And in 10 feet of snow to school.
It's easier now. You go Google.
You Google it. But Google that shit. Yeah. Like when you hear something you don't know what it means, like go down a little bit of a rabbit hole and Google it from reputable sources, not Newsmax or Fox or something. But when meet it on your level. I can give you, and I actually might start posting these, like reading lists for historical context.
That's an amazing idea
to understand just where we are today, because you can never. It becomes a game of whack-a-mole, like trying to solve. We constantly try to treat the symptoms of a problem instead of the actual sickness, right? It's like Western medicine. Like, don't try to figure out why it is that you have really poor circulation. Just medicate it to stop it.
Yeah, take a pill.
So we're trying to figure out like why it is that we have police brutality. Do you know where the police came from? You know that we had police were created to collect slaves, to chase runaway slaves, and patty rollers. That's why we had police. Police were invented to collect black people.
Good Lord, Jesse.
So as you start to build policies around that and generations change, is it possible that there's probably going to be an adverse effect on folks that used to be property that are now claiming to be people, but they've never seen any claiming to be people? I don't know you're a person. I've never seen any proof that you're a person. I was told by everything around me that you're a person. When people say I'm talking about, oh, that girl is beautiful, she's blonde, blue-eyed. But blonde, blue-eyed means beautiful. So what does black and dark hair mean? Jesus is white. So what does that mean I am? Like, and that's just on a Sunday morning to a 3-year-old kid watching TV.
Right. You're gonna have to change the world.
Well, there's a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks doing a lot of incredible work right now, and I'm really proud of all of them.
I love that. All right, so can we talk a little fuckery?
Let's talk some fuckery.
Can we talk a little fuckery? Not to say that your app is fuckery, right? But this is an enjoyable thing that you've created.
Yeah, Ebroji is.
We're not changing the.
Fun.
It's not necessarily changing the world.
You know, there are some ways. Of course, I'm figuring out ways to change the world, even with Ebroji. But
of course there is. So if you don't know, Jesse came up with this app. I have it on my phone, right? And so you know all these little GIFs that people use. It goes right into your keyboard, so that you could use it in conversation. So I could communicate in GIFs.
Yeah.
Don't I do this all the time? I communicate in GIFs now.
Yeah.
And then you have it broken down into categories.
We have like a real
you have a respect category.
Respect with a K category.
Mm-hmm.
Lit.
Yes,
we
all
have,
the important things in life.
Come on, son. We have, all that. Word. So yes, it started actually
talk
from
to him.
Aaron Drakely Williams and Glenn Kino and myself.
I'm not ignoring you.
Company.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm pulling up my
and we realized early on that like particularly like what we call urban culture, right, which is essentially Black culture, Black and Latin culture, creates and is really the cultural leader on the way we talk, how we talk. The way we dress, what music we listen to, slang, these are all forms of cultural communication.
So good.
And we kind of, and we realized this is before there were brown emojis even. Like, why are Black people running Twitter, driving national conversations all over the world, in China, for God's sake, right? All over the world is like Black culture and urban culture. But we don't own any of the tools that share this language. And we wait till like corporations like validate what we like. The way we talk is ghetto and ratchet until you decide to braid your hair and now it's like high fashion, or you decide to wear a do-rag and now you decide to plump your lips and it's okay, and you decide that like Old Navy's going to sell me jeans by saying on fleek. You know what I mean? It's like, no.
So you want to own it.
We want to own it. We want to start it and be the leaders that we are. So we created a device and we realized that GIFs are what everybody's doing. So we curated these incredible categories. That are incredibly diverse, believe me, in like a real way, not in like a network television.
No, they're
diversity.
So good. It's so good. You can talk in GIFs. That's it.
Talking GIFs. We got calm down, Black Girl Magic. The regular stuff. LOL. Yes.
Plenty of Beyonce for the Beehive.
Beyonce has her own category. She's earned that. Prince has his own category of GIFs. The shade master that is Prince. So it lives on your keyboard. So when you're texting, so a lot of other things are really about like GIFs are for like, I want to send you a funny cat GIF or something that's not. Ours is about communication. Like, how do I feel right now? Angie's like, yo, come to the show. I want to go to word. I want to say like word or thank you. So I go to thank you. Boom. There's a GIF it adds tone and texture. Like once I send you an emoji, a winking emoji, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Like you've seen it. I can't send it to you again. Like it's the same thing over. GIFs, we get new ones every day. They had the Billboard Music Awards last night.
Yeah.
Right? Where people, the shade, the people, everybody shading the Prince tribute. Like, or I should say the other night. So now we have GIFs of that. That's going to be on.
Oh, they're up already?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And that's the other thing. We do it right away.
That's so good.
Empire came on last night. Like we have those GIFs. We have the GIFs, and we, so it's current. It's fast. It lives on your keyboard while you're texting. You just load it into your keyboard.
So
but there's also a separate app.
On the regular App Store.
Or the Google Play Store if you have Android or iOS. You also can, if you have GIFs that you love, you can go to ebrojiapp.com and put them in. Yeah. And we'll load them and put them in the appropriate categories.
So good.
It's fun. It's easy. It's free. It's free.
How do you make money off that then?
Don't worry about it.
All right, fine.
No, we're not making our money off it right now. We're just like, it's about
You're trying to change the world somehow.
We just wanted to get into the marketplace because the tech world is really, really blando.
Right.
It really, really doesn't
is that a
technical term?
Technical
That's
term,
a Silicon Valley
blando.
Term.
I'm learning about some things that are blando. I'm going to talk to you about this later. I want to pick your brain because I have some. I'm in the literary business now.
You are.
I
was going to try to find the appropriate place for this. To congratulate Angie on this. The book.
You.
Not only is it dope, I read it.
I love that you read it.
But it's also like it's really good. It's really it flow. You're just a natural communicator.
Thank you.
But also I hear that it's sold out everywhere at the present moment.
That's amazing, and I'm super grateful.
It's sold out everywhere. They could have maybe done things differently. It's still sold out.
Okay, I'm trying to be in that moment and be happy about that moment.
It's and not that.
But here's the Jesse Williams in me. Here's the Jesse Williams in me, right? So, as grateful as I'm more grateful for the people that have shown up at the bookstores and feel connected to something.
In this day and age, to go to a bookstore and buy a book
and stand in line and wait to get it signed, like it's. I haven't been to a signing yet without tearing up. That and also the way people resonate with my story is wild touching.
Mm-hmm.
And then so when I first got the note that it's sold out, I'm thinking, how exciting is that? And then I realized, well, wait a minute, how come I know they sold a lot of books too. How come they're not sold out? And I realized because they put you in a category, right? Because because the book world is a blando world as well. Is that what we're going with? Right. And so when they look at somebody like me, they look at, oh, that's a hip hop book. And so then it goes in a category.
Yep. Which means we'll only make so-and-so thousand.
She's a radio personality. So then that goes into a category. She's Latina. So then that goes into a small category. And then so that's how they decide how many books they order. Right. And that's how they decide who cares about my story. And so that disturbs me a bit. And I guess it's business, but it's something about that is
low
really,
expectations do not feel good.
But based on what? Is it hip hop?
Well,
thing,
based on some metric that is this is also, you're right, this does become
I feel a little Jesse Williams about it.
Because what this
By the way, I'm gonna coin that today. I'm gonna do that. Whenever I'm like fired up about something in the room, I'm gonna I'm gonna J-dub on him.
So it does, and in my circles, has become a term.
I bet.
But I mean, yes, when you have folks that are kind of putting you in a box, what happens is this kind of like brown exceptionalism becomes a thing where, like, if you went out and killed somebody, like, that would be a reflection on
how many books they would have pre-ordered though. But I would have done that,
it would have been like a Puerto Rican problem. It would have been like a Latin women problem. Latin girls are crazy, right? If you do something negative, it goes to your race or your gender or your sexual orientation. Right. If you do something positive, I don't even think of you as Latino, right? I extract you from that group and put you in a white space, which is really the same thing as a neutral space, right? Like, oh, you speak so well, I don't even think of you as black. Instead of, oh, black people can speak so well, right? It doesn't trickle down to the people. We extract you from that group and keep that group down, no matter what. So you take the best and brightest, just as like an intrinsic kind of cultural background policy. So there have been exceptional writers from, Caribbean, Latin America, or Central America, whatever. However they want to pin you down, or hip hop. Obviously, sells a lot of content products, all these things. But all of those things don't reflect how they predict where your book would sell.
I think they think hip hop book people who are interested in hip hop are not necessarily interested in buying books.
Didn't Steve Stout's book sell?
I don't know what
Jay-Z's book sell.
Yeah. So I don't know why that didn't. I don't know why. So
doesn't count. It's not. It's something else. It's like when people go, oh well, black movies don't travel. You can't. Black movies aren't big overseas. They don't sell overseas. While I have had agents tell me that. While Fast and the Furious made like $500 million in like 48 hours. When it's an all brown cast, right? By and large, right? Like every shade of brown, right? Well, they're looking me in the face, telling me how black movies don't travel, and then you go, "Oh yeah, but isn't Will Smith really big? Yeah, but or like The Rock had a big movie. Yeah, but The Rock isn't.
You mean black? Or, you mean bad black movies don't travel? Not good black
it doesn't,
movies travel.
Bad, movies. How many white movies fail every week?
Right.
Every week.
Yeah. Right.
Tank.
Yeah.
And all those actors still work?
Yeah.
They're not punished for that. We're punished for
it. Must be so fun to be in meetings like that with you.
Yeah.
That must be such a good time.
Yeah.
For the people around you. Because I'm imagining that you must have some like white agents or lawyers.
No, I do not.
Really?
I do not.
Your whole team of color.
That's true.
Really?
That's true.
Wow. That's impressive. So nobody's surprised then when nobody's surprised when you have strong opinions.
I've had other representatives in the past. Oh. And I've never made a decision to hire or not work with anybody based on race.
Really?
Entirely. No.
So it's not like a conscious thing that I don't.
It's not. I am conscious of it. It is not a predetermining factor.
Got it.
Right? Like, it's about performance. Mm-hmm. I like to surround myself with really smart people. I like to surround myself with people that inspire me to do better, and that believe in me.
I would imagine like-minded to an extent.
Not necessarily. Right. I need you to be creative and dope. I need you to call me with ideas. Mm-hmm. I don't like to I'm not, and this was like when I was like single and dating and stuff. In general, with partners, people that are around me, I don't want to be the cool guy, and I'm not the guy that like. I don't want to be like the dope guy that's the leader of the crew. I don't want to have like. I don't need a girlfriend that like worships me and has no brain for herself.
Right.
Like I don't need that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I want you to inspire me to go do some next level shit. Like I need you to make me better. It's almost selfish.
Like you're as strong as your team. Kind of.
Yeah, and you want like I'm only this as far as I know I only got one life.
You want to be inspired.
Like, I don't need you to like stroke like make me feel super swagged out in some shallow bullshit way that's like easily replicable. Like I'd rather be pushed. I'd rather call my manager, bring something to me and be like, I don't know if I can do that. And be like, yeah, you can. And this is how. And this is why.
Oh.
Like, that's worth it. Like just some button pusher. Just some middleman that's going to tell me.
Is my whole squad paying attention to what he's saying right now?
I found that like a lot
very important.
A lot of the folks in the business, and this is not a direct shade at anybody. Just like a lot of the folks in the business that worked with me or other folks, always were giving reasons why I couldn't do things, and not why I could.
Or thinking out the box. Yeah, you got to think out the box for that.
And not, or just like I called them and they said no, we're going Caucasian. Yeah, but the role is written for a person of color. Yeah, but they feel like it'll be more going Caucasian. Okay, great.
Is that what they say? Is that the term?
All the time. They're going Caucasian. Yeah, sure. Then you have to ask them.
Is that the term?
Then you go to them. It's a term. There's a lot of terms around like supporting the structure. Yeah, exactly. I'm introducing that. But I think that you have to like always ask your people like, and then what did you say?
Ooh, Angie, I'm going to take that.
Angie, like, they told me we can't make more books. Right. And then what did you say? Mm-hmm. Because I need to know why I'm paying you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just get an answering machine.
Yeah.
I don't need a rep if I just get an answering machine to receive messages of telling me why I can't do shit.
I have my publisher coming up to the show tomorrow because I want to have this conversation. I'm going to ask him, and then what did you say?
Yeah.
Jesse wants to know.
And then, what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason we're here. Always, the people around you should add value to the situation.
Yeah.
Period.
Ooh, so good. So good. All right, Jesse. We can do this for 4 hours.
We can.
Anytime you feel fired up, I want you to come here and fire it up.
Or just like call you in the car, just furious.
Because you probably get furious every day by something.
It's a nice
in the world.
It's a nice balance of laughter and frustration. They both motivate each other. Yeah. So get that Ebroji. Watch Stay Woke.
Stay Woke on Thursday, BET, 9 o'clock.
Ebroji app.
Is Grey's Anatomy's coming back next season?
That's right.
Yes,
because I heard show on TV.
I knew that, but then I had heard an awful rumor. Somebody in here told me that. Well, I should have known it was because they also said Scandal. They were like, Scandal and Grey's Anatomy are not coming back. I was like, no, I think fucking
part
way.
of that, the only reason, and there's totally a segment. There's actually an article that just came out that was like, Grey's Anatomy is actually way better than people give credit for. Everybody always goes, oh, that show's still on, and kind of like maybe even rolls their eyes because no shows are on this long.
Mm-hmm. By accident.
No shows are on this long.
Right.
Like, so it's like, oh, it must be, you like chalk it up to something else. I would also say like, not only are no shows on this long, no shows do as many episodes as we, very few shows do as many episodes as we do for this long. Like a lot of shows do like 8 episodes, 13 episodes. We do 25, 24 episodes of an hour long show a year. And our ratings are better than they're getting better.
Is that right?
They're getting stronger. And more people discover the show on Netflix. Like there's people that have grown up with the show, right? It's 12 years running.
Right.
So there's kids that started when they were 12 years old, now they're 24.
That's crazy.
You've got, there's more like young people discovering season 1 and 2 on Netflix right now than watch any other show on TV. Like there's like 5 generations of folks that watch the show because you can pick it up at different spots.
Wow.
So it's Shonda created a beast, and she's still directly connected to it, and it's having a real rejuvenation right now. So that thing ain't dying until Shonda kills it.
I was sad to hear that Sarah was leaving.
Yeah, Sara Ramirez is taking a break.
She was the Spanish girl, Latin girl on the show.
Tremendous actress, actually.
And now she's gone. We need another one. Could we plug that spot with another one? We'll make some calls
and see what we can do. But you know what? We might have to go Caucasian there.
No.
This might be.
I know many amazing Latin actresses. If they need any referrals,
I'll find some excuses not to hire them
because they're gonna go bland.
Yeah. No. It's and look, I mean, that's a perfect example. Actually, I don't know how I overlooked that. People always talk about how like diversity, diversity doesn't work, and you gotta go neutral. I remember when they wrote that movie Noah with Russell Crowe playing Noah for some reason. There weren't even white people there, but all the people were white. And the writers explained.
It's so funny.
The writers explained why they were like, why did you make everybody white? Like these were not white people. And he's like, well, I thought about making it like a Benetton ad, but and I'm paraphrasing, but he definitely said like Benetton ad. But we figured we wanted to make it neutral so everybody could relate to these people. Oh. This idea of like whiteness as central, right? It's like we always have to see ourselves in your body, but you never have to see yourself in ours. Which is kind of something that Ebroji subversively does, is that you're using a body other than your own to communicate how you feel.
Right.
So if you're using a Latino body or a gay body or a black body to communicate your LOL or your I love you, maybe subversively that can just have an impact at kind of humanizing all of us.
I just thought it was an app. I didn't mean to I didn't realize you were.
It is just an app. But Grey's has been the most diverse show on TV since day one. You have
Black, Asian, Latin.
It's not perfect, but it's heads and tails above any other show and has been, and been the number one show on TV. So you tell me it doesn't work, but it's the number one show on TV. Has all these different races and gay characters and a trans woman arc and all this stuff, and gay patients and all these issues, but it's a number one show on TV, but you tell me it doesn't work, so it makes money. So you're even willing, you always use the money ticket. Oh, well, we need to make money, and that doesn't really make money. So, but you're willing to not make money to keep things white.
I'm so coin that phrase today.
Buddy.
It's going to stick.
Oh, I think I got to play now.
I know, we have to go. Sorry, I kept him too long.
Oh, damn you, Angie.
Because I want to talk
about...
not
very talkative, that's the thing.
Clearly, I want to talk about all the injustices in the world in one sitting.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're not going to get to all that today. But we can watch Grey's Anatomy. I look forward to the next season. We'll be back next season. Thursday, 9 o'clock. We'll learn what we need to know about Black Lives Matter movement.
Yep. That's on BT, and you can Play Store or App Store get that Ebroji and enjoy it, and let us know what you think about it at Ebroji app on Twitter.
Amazing. I can't wait.